Welcome, welcome. All right. Today, we are going to be talking about nutrition labels. Nutrition labels. How to read nutrition labels. This is important. They talk about, the food in America compared to other countries and how there's certain ingredients that we eat in the American diet that are illegal in other countries. And that's pretty glaring. That should tell us something. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at the grocery stores, just your local common grocery store, the way that capitalism has fattened us, and the economic war that is going on in your grocery aisles with these snacks and the beverages. You know what I mean? It's terrible. And so they try to toe the line and put the nutritional facts, and then they tell you the ingredients, and it's probably chemicals you can't pronounce. You know what I mean? And so they're regulated, and they're forced to push to label the ingredients and to label the nutritional facts on their products. And the average common person before watching this video didn't know or understand how to read it. And so they saw the product and they said, "Oh, it tastes good. I like that. It fills me up for the moment, and I want it. I gotta have it." And so out of the ignorance comes bliss. And then you get fat, you get all sorts of illnesses, and you're lacking nutrients and so on and so forth. And then it's a wrap, and you live an unhealthy, miserable life. But now that you're watching this video, all of that will change. So let's talk about the foundation, the multiplier check. So the serving size versus the container. Let me before I begin, let me put up. So what you see here is a 2.5 ounce bag of Takis. This is the nutritional label for a 2.5 bag of Takis. All right. So while I'm speaking, you can follow along with the talk. All right. So you have the serving size, and then you have the container. Serving size versus the container. So the serving size is the portion that you should eat in one sitting out of the bag, right? And then you have the container size, which is the entire bag. Every number on the label is tied to the serving size, not the package. If a container has 3 servings and you eat the whole thing, you must triple every calorie, every gram of sugar, and every milligram of sodium. So this is why it's important to pay attention to the serving size. Now, of course, people don't pay attention to the serving size, and then they gorge themselves and then wonder why their belly is jiggling the next morning. Or maybe they don't wonder. So the serving size is typically, and most nutritional facts are labeled the same way. Some products may not have, the label may not have room, so it's just all written out, like what's written out down here in the ingredients. But the serving size, and it tells you the entire container has 2.5 serving sizes. So this is a 2.5 bag of chips. So one serving size is simply just 1 ounce, right? And this is, if you're a numbers person, this will come a little naturally to you, but if not, it's probably a little bit of a struggle, right? And in 1 ounce is just 28 grams or just 14 pieces of chips. So it's telling you what you should be eating in one sitting. It's telling you what you should be eating, right? The reality gap. Often a serving is much smaller than a standard portion. Of course, if you don't check the serving size first, the rest of the data is functionally useless. So let's say we eat 1 ounce of a 2.5. So that means you eat that 1 ounce, bag it up, roll it up, package it away, and save it for later, right? Right? Is that what we're doing? Right? Exactly. So the serving size is your guide, right? You pay attention to the serving size, and you let that guide you down the label, right? You let that guide you down the label, and you eat accordingly. The 3-point macro scan. So once you look at the serving size, you say, okay, I'm only supposed to eat in one sitting, in one meal, I'm only supposed to eat 1 ounce of this bag of Takis, right? The second thing you need to look at is the protein. Protein, you need protein for your muscles, your skin, your hair. You could tell someone's diet or how much protein someone is getting in their diet just by looking at their bodies. The body does not lie. The body never lies. All right. So protein is the anchor. This is your top priority. All right, so the protein is your top priority for satiety and muscle maintenance. This is how you maintain. So when you get a healthy protein diet, your satiety, meaning you're full, your belly is full longer, and muscle maintenance. You can maintain your muscle, you can maintain your strength, and your overall health. You know, especially in your muscles, your skin, and your hair. So you want to aim for 20 to 30 grams per meal. So in this bag of Takis, in one serving size, there's only 2 grams. So and then there's only 2 grams in one serving. Remember, it's a 2.5 ounce bag, and one serving size is 1 ounce. So therefore, you're only getting 5 grams of protein out of this bag, out of this small little bag. And in one meal, you need about 20 to 30 grams. So you would have, so in order to, so now let's say we're just eating for protein, right? We're not paying attention to the fat and the sodium and so on and so forth. We're not paying attention to any of that. We're just paying attention to the protein, right? We would have to eat, in order to get the minimum of 20 grams per meal, you would have to eat 4 of these bags. You would have to eat 4 of these bags. So in order to just get the protein you need for one meal. Now think of all of the sodium and the carbs and the fat you would have to add on to those 4 bags. You see what I'm saying? And this is what is flooding the aisles in our stores all across America. This is the reality we live with. But now that you've watched this video, all that will change, right? Right? Say yes. Say yes. Exactly. So now, so carbohydrates, the insulin lever. Now remember, if you can recall. Now, if you can recall, what you see on your screen is the glucose and insulin matrix. And glucose, gluc meaning the blood, and os meaning sugar, right? Blood sugar, and insulin, which is the hormone that activates the blood sugar in the body. So when you eat senseless carbohydrates like this bag of Takis, in one serving size, let's look at it. In one serving size, you only get 2 grams of protein, but you get a whopping 14 grams of carbs. You get 7 times the carbs that you do proteins in just 1 ounce of this bag of Takis, right? And so just think, just that 1 ounce, just that one meal. In just that one meal, you're getting 14 grams of carbs. 14 grams of carbs. And remember, you would have to eat 4 of those bags. You would have to eat 4 of those bags to just get the minimum 20 grams per meal of protein that's necessary, right? And so remember what happens when your glucose is high, right? When your glucose is high, your pancreas, which is the gland that secretes the hormone insulin, has to work overtime to keep up with so much blood sugar, right? And when the pancreas can no longer keep up, this is how you get diabetes, right? So I'm just going to leave this up there while I talk, and just so you can follow and catch on to what I'm talking about. All right. So carbohydrates are the insulin lever, right? So fiber is the protector. So you want 3 grams to 5 grams per serving of fiber per meal, right? High fiber slows glucose absorption and stabilizes energy. And also high fiber, or an adequate amount of fiber, allows you to move bowels easier, to keep a healthy digestive system, or in other words, as they say, it keeps you regular, right? And it keeps you and so if your digestive system isn't backed up, you know what I mean, you have more energy to do other things other than digest your food. That's why I say potato is the devil, because it's low, pretty much no fiber, right? And people eat so much of it. There's potato chips, there's French fries, so on and so forth, and there's low to no fiber in potatoes, right? And people eat so much of it. It's just pure carbohydrates. It's just pure carbohydrates. Mind you, it's natural. It's from the earth, but it's not the best food for you. It makes you feel full, but it does nothing for you ultimately, right? Added sugars. This is the red flag. So when you look, let's look back to the Taki label, right? The added sugars. You have just total carbohydrates, and in 1 ounce, you only have 1 gram of dietary fiber. In just 1 ounce, in a 1 ounce serving of these Takis, right? You only have 1 gram of dietary fiber, and you need 3 to 5 grams per meal, per serving, right? And you only get 1 gram of this bag. So that means just to get 3 grams that required of fiber per meal, you would have to eat 3 of these bags, on top of all the other garbage that you're putting in your system, right? But there's so total sugars and added sugars. Okay, that's good. It's not a pastry. It's not a sweet. So of course, there's not going to be any added sugars in a bag of Takis. I don't think you probably want that, would you? I mean, people like Takis for the spiciness. So in this particular product, there's no added sugars, which is good. But most people don't necessarily pay attention to the total sugars or the added sugars part of it. And most people don't pay attention to the nutrition label altogether, but let alone the added sugars. You know what I mean? But we're gonna fix that. We're here to fix that. Fats. Let's talk about fats. The quality filter. The 0 rule. Always aim for 0 grams of trans fat. So trans fat is the processed fat. So this particular bag of Takis has no trans fat, which is good. Yeah, trans fat would be the processed fat. If I may stand, you have the saturated. But the two different types of fat normally would be the saturated fat and the unsaturated fat. And between the unsaturated fat, you have polyunsaturated and monounsaturated. So saturated fat, keep this under 10% of your daily calories. Focus on unsaturated. Yes. So unsaturated fats are the fats that are the natural fats. Those are the fats that come from animals. And so animals and plants typically. Yes. So you want more unsaturated fat. So saturated fats only 1.5 grams. And the unsaturated fats, the polyunsaturated and the monounsaturated combined makes about 8.5 grams. So that's pretty decent. That's good. That's good. However, to get only 2 grams of protein and 14 grams of carbs, no, this is no good. You're pretty much fattening yourself or just eating to sleep. It's going to knock you out because your blood sugar is going to be so high and your insulin is going to have to work overtime just off of this 1 ounce serving of Takis. You know what I mean? It's terrible. All right, so here we have a box of strawberry Pop-Tarts. So now first we looked at a bag of chips, which was more savory and spicy. Now this is a pastry, which is more sweet. So let's look at the difference. Still, you have minimum protein.
When you see somebody who is in really good shape, there are a few conclusions you can draw about that person. 1, they're disciplined and they understand dedication. 2, they are patient and they understand commitment, because we know nothing just happens overnight. So they have to be patient with themselves in the process in order to see results. 3, that person is mentally tough. Life hits us with stress. Our bodies get fatigued. We get sore, but they don't allow that to become an excuse to give up or to become inconsistent. And 4, they have self-love, because we know that anything that you love, you take care of, even down to the point of it being a sacrificial love, because when you love something, you also keep things away from it that could be harmful, like being gluttonous or alcohol consumption, etc. So when you see somebody who is in really good shape, you're not merely just observing something physical, but it's indicative that there are a lot of other good character traits underlying.
Only 3 grams of protein, and kids go crazy over this stuff, right? Or we feed our kids this stuff, and that's why they go crazy over it, right? Hold on. You only get 3 grams of protein, but a whopping 70 grams of carbs. The ratio of protein to carbs is 3 to 70. This is death. This is pure and utter death. And this is what we give our children. Sodium, 320 milligrams. So you also want to pay attention to the measurements. So the protein and the carbs and the fats are in grams, but the sodium and the cholesterol is in milligrams. So naturally, it's going to be, but it's 320 milligrams would be equivalent to 0.32 grams. So it's not that much, but I really don't know why they list it that way. And I guess these are the kind of little nuances that confuse people and make them and discourage the non-numbers people from reading these labels. But you got 25%. This is per serving. Remember, we pay attention to the serving size, right? Per serving. So the serving size, just in just a pair of Pop-Tarts. In just a pair of Pop-Tarts, you're getting 14%. 14% of that pair of Pop-Tarts is just sodium. It's just sodium. So that's like a tenth and some change, right? And a quarter of that is sugar, right? The protein is so minimal that they don't even list the percentage. They don't even list it. It's so minimal. It's not even worth mentioning. You know what I mean? But you get a quarter of it in carbs, the other 14% in sodium, total fat 12%. You know what I mean? Like this is disgusting. So 3 grams. Okay, so there's minimal fat. Okay, cool. Now, don't let this fool you. right? You're only getting 9 grams of fat compared to 3 grams of protein, but look at the carbs still. Look at the carbs. Oh no. Terrible. Right? And then, you have the other vitamins and minerals and nutrients in the bottom. 0% calcium. And once again, this is in milligrams, not grams, right? And so yeah, there is some nutritional value, but these carbs, it's freaking glaring. Like, no. No. Terrible. All right. So mind you, this is just in just two Pop-Tarts. Just 2 Pop-Tarts. Serving size is 2 Pop-Tarts, and in the container would be 6 Pop-Tarts. So now let's estimate. So if we wanted, remember, we want 20 to 30 grams of protein per meal, right? We need our protein, right? Right. And in just 2 Pop-Tarts, you only get 3 grams of protein. So that would mean you would need to eat the entire box and then some. You would need to eat the entire box and then some just to get the required meal. So now just think, if you eat just for the protein, imagine how much carbs you're getting, right? No. It's a slow death. Let's look at the next product. Now, I don't know how well you can see this, but this is a gallon of Hawaiian Punch. And I wanted to show it because it's the liquid sugars that kill us quicker than the snacks. It's the liquid sugar, the beverages that kill us quicker than the snacks. Now, remember, if we go back to when we drink too much sugar, when we consume too much blood sugar, right? We spike our insulin. And then we crash, right? Now, as opposed to solid foods, liquids process into the body quicker just because of its state. It's in a liquid form. Just because of its form, it processes through the body quicker. So, if a pastry like a Pop-Tart with a whopping 70 grams of sugar can spike your insulin to that degree, imagine what a gallon of Hawaiian Punch would do to you. Now, mind you, let's look at the carbs. The carbs. This only has 9 grams of carbs, right? So you would think in one serving size. Remember, we pay attention to the serving size first. So in one serving is 8 ounces. 8 ounces. Now, mind you, if you bought you a food scale and you measured your serving size, right? So in 8 ounces, how much is that? How much of a cup is that? So in just one cup of this Hawaiian Punch, right, you're only getting 9 grams of carbs. Right. Remember, pay attention to the serving size first, and then you look at the protein. This has absolutely no protein. You would it's a liquid, it's a juice. You would expect that, right? It's not a shake, it's not a milk or anything like that. So you're gonna anticipate there being no protein value in it, right? So you're pretty much just drinking it for the sake of refreshment. Okay, that's cool, right? But once again, liquid processes through the digestive system quicker than solids, right? So that means you're spiking your insulin quicker. The sugar spikes your insulin and raises your blood sugar, right? The sugar in the juice raises your blood sugar, and then it takes the water from the cells in the blood, and it triggers the hypothalamus in the brain, making you think that you're more thirsty, when really you just have too much sugar. So a lot of times when you drink or consume a lot of sugary foods, pastries, juices, so on and so forth, it's good to just drink water and wash it down and rehydrate the cells, because the sugar is going to dehydrate you. The sugar is going to raise your insulin, raise your blood sugar, and take the water away from the cells in the body, and then get your kidneys working in overtime. This is also why when you drink a lot of sugary juices, you have to use the bathroom a lot, because you're dehydrating the body from the sugar. All right. So this is like the ninja. The liquid sugars are the ninja when it comes to reducing carbs. Just not even protein, just reducing the carbs in and of itself. Juices are the devil. And also, you want to pay attention to juices that are refrigerated versus non-refrigerated juices, because for it to be non-refrigerated, how much of a lab project that must have been. You know what I mean? So that it doesn't. You mean to tell me it doesn't require any refrigeration whatsoever? Something ain't right. Something ain't right. No. So I wanted to pinpoint this. Follow me. Now this next product is supposedly a healthier alternative, right? Supposedly. And I say supposedly because once again, we pay attention to the serving size first. So in just one Nutri-Grain bar, we're only getting 2 grams of protein. We're only getting 2 grams of protein. Remember, you need up to about 20 to 30 grams per meal, a minimum of 20, and up to about 30 per meal to be healthy, to be considered healthy. Just protein alone. All right. So in just one bar, right? But now let's look at the carbs. So this has significantly a lot less carbs than the Pop-Tarts. Pop-Tarts had about 70 grams of carbs. This only has about 25. But here's the kicker. Look, 22% added sugar, and this is the highest percentage on this entire label. This is the highest percentage. That's nuts. 22% added sugars. So they have you thinking that with all of this, nutrients and minerals and whatever in there, that you're getting somewhat of a better deal with less carbs, right? They have you thinking you're getting a better deal, but look at all of this added sugar. These are the processed sugars. These are the lab sugars. This is the sugars that you do not want. This is the sugars that make you crash and go to sleep and dehydrate you. You know what I mean? And mind you, this is supposed to be a Nutri-Grain bar. This is supposed to be, something that you need. It's supposed to be something that's supposed to be good for you and have all of the requirements. But yet, it only has 2 grams of protein. 2 grams of protein, 2 to 25 ratio of protein to carbs, which is still disgusting. And that's just in one bar. So remember, we pay attention to the serving size first, and then we look at the protein, and then we look at the carbs, and then the fats. And remember, we want unsaturated fat and not saturated fat, and especially not trans fat either. All right, so this is a Nutri-Grain bar. So they try to be healthy, but not quite. Now we're going to do a comparison. So when I became more health conscious, I started getting into yogurt because I was looking for that ice cream alternative. Ice cream was way too fatty, and then it was too much dairy, and then it as far as the flavor benefits of it, it didn't really have much health benefit. So I wanted the ice cream alternative. So I got really heavy into yogurts, right? And Chobani is a real good brand. Chobani is kind of like the Mercedes-Benz of yogurts, per se, if you will. They kind of got the market cornered as opposed to the off-brand, the store brands, right? But Chobani is kind of like the creme de la creme. But Oikos is on their heels. Is somewhat on their heels, right? And so they have this campaign with the zero sugar. You have a lot of this zero sugar battle going on, and it's cool. And then they kind of jack up the proteins. I feel like that's all a lab project to me. You know what I mean? I'm fine with just enough fat. I'm fine with just enough cholesterol, or just not too much carbs, and just enough and more protein. That's all. That me personally, with my health, the state of my health, that's really my focus, right? So we look at the serving size, 3/4 of a cup, and this about 170 grams. And so what I'll do is I'll get a coffee mug and put it on my food scale, and then just scoop it out until I reach approximately 170 grams. And that way I know I'm staying true to the data label. True to the data label. So we look at the serving size. Next, we look at the protein. We are getting 16 grams of protein from this, from one serving size, from 170 grams of this yogurt. 16 grams. So that means if we need a minimum of 20 grams in one meal, this is an awesome supplement. This does it. This kind of like gets us. This helps us over the hump. This is part of what we need. All right. And so yeah, and the same for this one too. This has more protein. So in this 170 grams, this has in this serving size of 170 grams, this has about 17 grams of protein. All right. So now these are pluses. These are very much pluses, but we have to look at all of the other factors. So Chobani has 16, Oikos has 17. The competition is steep. Now let's look at the carbs. This has less carbs. It has 6 grams of carbs, whereas this one has 11. It's not looking good for Oikos right now. It's not looking good. Fats are pretty much non-existent. We don't have to worry about that, which is awesome, right? But you can't always trust that. And in cholesterol, this has 10 milligrams of cholesterol, whereas this has less than 5 milligrams of cholesterol. So you get a little trade-off. You're getting less carbs with Chobani, right? Which is the goal, less carbs. You're getting it's only a 1 gram difference between both products of protein, right? So now the only thing that really you want to pay attention to is the size. One container might have the Chobani has about 32 ounces in the entire container, so you just want to look at the economic factors of it. But mainly in this particular situation, in this comparison, the Chobani would take the cake once again. It would take the cake. Considering the vitamins and minerals, vitamin D, iron, it's non-existent. It has some calcium and potassium. This one has a little bit of vitamin D, which is cool, the oikos. But yet the Chobani still has more calcium and potassium. So Chobani is the ultimate winner. It's the ultimate winner once again. And this is how you would go about understanding and reading your nutrition labels.